I offer as warm a greeting to J.J. Redick as he got in Philadelphia this evening, where the Sixers fans greeted a former player there with great love. I appreciate the time, J.J. Joel Embiid back, not vintage, and yet just his presence means what to this Sixer team?
Means they're capable of beating the Miami Heat in this series and advancing even further in the playoffs. We're talking about an MVP level player here in Joel Embiid. And I know he didn't have a huge night, but he still had a huge impact, 18 and 11. And more importantly, when he was on the floor, that Philadelphia 76ers defense was great. You look historically in his career, his individual defensive rating, it's like #1 relative to the #1 team defensive rating every single year. Basically, when he's on the floor, you have a chance to have the best defense in the league.
You're not likely to get the same three-point shooting performance from Green and Maxey again in a game, but I want to ask specific to Maxey, because we've seen Danny Green do it, right? I love Maxey's game, and I love his energy. I love the way he just is. What do you see from this young man in terms of his emergence?
I said this on air tonight. I talk about Ja Morant's fearlessness all the time, and that's a lot in reference to him just launching himself towards the basket. But
right.
There's a fearlessness that Maxey has. No moment is too big for him. There's a joy that he plays with. He had a slow first half of the game. 0 for 3, and then all of a sudden, he just had this burst. And as good as Joel was at times, and James Harden was at times, I thought Tobias Harris had a solid night, and obviously Danny Green shooting. It was Tyrese Maxey's outburst that really created the separation there for the 76ers to win this game.
Man, I remember his first game at Kentucky. He hit a big-time bucket, and he was screaming, I'm like this, I'm like this. And I'm like, all right, settle down, young man. Now give me more of it. I agree. There's a joy that he plays with. And I just want to close with this. I think I heard you say, essentially, game on, series on. Is that the way you feel after tonight's performance?
I said this before the game. Joel being back in the lineup changes the entire complexity of this series and potentially the Eastern Conference. That's how good Joel is. And I would absolutely say series on here, Scott. Series on.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.